Hello, my name is Elder Price, and I would like to share with you the most amazing book. Hello, my name is Elder Grant. It's a book about America a long, long time ago. It has so many awesome parts, you simply won't believe how much this book can change your life. Hello, my name is Elder Green. I would like to share with you this book of Jesus Christ. Hello, my name is Elder Young. Hello, did you know that Jesus lived here in the USA? You can read all about it now. Hello, in this nifty book, it's free. No, you don't have to pay. Hello, hello, my name is Elder Smith, and can I leave this book with you for you to just...
Hello. Oh, I forgot to put the missionary pictures back. That's the second day in a row. I thought the missionaries were showing there. But good morning. I'm your host, Doug Bundy, for Voices from the Dust TV on this Wednesday, the 24th day of September 2014. We welcome you to our show where we share the reason for the hope within us, the reason why the Latter-day Saints are Christians, and the reason why you should be too. We not only explain what distinguishes LDS Christian doctrine from non-LDS Christian doctrine on our show here, but we also explain why it is that the Latter-day Saints have declared since 1845 that the only salvation remaining for the Gentiles is for them to repent, to be baptized, and thus to be identified in the same covenant and to worship at the same altar as Israel. We've discussed this in past episodes of Voices from the Dust, radio and TV, and you can access those past episodes on our website, voicesfromthedust.org. Just go there and click on the menu item TV, where you can watch the program live, or just click on one of the links provided for our YouTube channel. It's live there as well, and I think there's a questions app where you can submit questions, but I'm not sure. We still haven't checked that out yet thoroughly. But our Google Plus page also has comments available on it, and our Facebook page. They're all titled Voices from the Dust. So you can go there and see what happens. Yesterday, or actually today, this morning, when I was preparing for today's show on the land of Zion, which, by the way, today is our theme, the land of Zion. Monday is the controversies of Zion. Tuesday's the title is the truths of Zion. And then for Wednesday we have the land of Zion. Thursday, tomorrow, we'll have the enemies of Zion, and Friday we have the prophets of Zion. So we've kind of organized it that way. Today, the land of Zion is the title of our show. The land of Zion, something's gotta give. And we'll be talking about that as we get going here. But we have some guests, or at least one. We expected more, but Roy is here with us, and we want to say good morning to Roy and give him a chance to say good morning to everybody and whatever else he wants to add.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning to everyone. Good morning, Doug. It's a blessed day. I was listening to the scriptures last night, and there were, some of the same scriptures we were listening to yesterday, Doug. And it's just so awesome. I mean, it's just, I get so excited about it. Anyway, I just thank everybody for listening in or whatever you're doing, and that you have a great day. And I'll be here and answer any questions Doug has. So, thank you.
Yeah, there's people that watch this live, and then there are people who watch it after it's recorded, but your enthusiasm for the scriptures is always well received, and your testimony as well. So we're happy to have you here, the young man, Andrew, is not here. I expected him to be, but something might have happened. And so you never know what the audience is going to be. We want to increase it, of course, and so we urge everybody to share it, and online and offline, and to try to explain what it is. Now, yesterday we were talking about the interview I had. I don't think it was probably correct to call it an interview, but it was a conversation, a friendly conversation, at a bus stop in Salt Lake City near the church office building, where we were contrasting the LDS views with non-LDS views, and the pastor that was there, Pastor Mark Cares, and from Idaho, who has a Mormon Truth in Love ministry, he calls it, but we didn't get to finish it, and we'll probably, there's more for him to post. Dave Bartosowitz, that made the film, posted that, and he also has others that we did that they're probably editing now to make it to improve it. So when he gets the rest of it posted, we'll get back to that. But it was interesting that we were talking mostly about the things, of course, that he brought up the questions. We don't ever get to control the questions. All we get to do is answer. And so he talked about the nature of God, and whether Jesus is God, and the nature of the priesthood, and the nature or the fact that there is or there is not a church of God, one true church upon the earth, and the things about eternal salvation and so on. We talked about those things, and we've reviewed a few of them on our show yesterday. So if you want to see those, then you can go back to yesterday's show on our website, or on our YouTube channel, or Google Plus page, or Facebook page. But they're archived there, and you can see what he had to say. We'll get back to that eventually, but today we're going to be talking about the land of Zion. Now, but before we get to that, we have our Whispers Out of the Ground. That's a feature that where we were playing chapters out of the Book of Mormon, a chapter a day. We started at the beginning, and now we're at chapter 28 of the Book of Alma. And if you want to again catch up to the context of what is being said in chapter 28 of the Book of Alma, you can of course go to the Book of Mormon and read up on it, or you can go to our past episodes each day. I don't think yesterday actually, when I think about it now, did we do chapter 27? I think because of our technical problems we had to skip that, and so we probably need to go back and do chapter 27 before we do 28. I just now thought of that. Let me go back there, and I'll share that text part with everybody, and then I will find yesterday's audio on the other computer to play, but that might take me a little bit of time here.
Now it came to pass that when those Lamanites who had gone to war against the Nephites had found, after their many struggles to destroy them, that it was in vain to seek their destruction, they returned again to the land of Nephi. And it came to pass that the Amalekites, because of their loss, were exceedingly angry. And when they saw that they could not seek revenge from the Nephites, they began to stir up the people in anger against their brethren, the people of anti-Nephi Lehi. Therefore they began again to destroy them. Now this people again refused to take their arms, and they suffered themselves to be slain according to the desires of their enemies. Now when Ammon and his brethren saw this work of destruction among those whom they so dearly beloved, and among those who had so dearly beloved them, for they were treated as though they were angels sent from God to save them from everlasting destruction, Therefore, when Ammon and his brethren saw this great work of destruction, they were moved with compassion, and they said unto the king, Let us gather together this people of the Lord, and let us go down to the land of Zarahemla to our brethren the Nephites, and flee out of the hands of our enemies, that we be not destroyed. But the king said unto them, Behold, the Nephites will destroy us, because of the many murders and sins we have committed against them. And Ammon said, I will go and inquire of the Lord. And if he say unto us, Go down unto our brethren, will ye go? And the king said unto him, Yea, if the Lord saith unto us, Go, we will go down unto our brethren, and we will be their slaves, until we repair unto them the many murders and sins which we have committed against them. But Ammon said unto him, It is against the law of our brethren, which was established by my father, that there should be any slaves among them. Therefore let us go down and rely upon the mercies of our brethren. But the king said unto him, Inquire of the Lord, and if he saith unto us, Go, we will go. Otherwise we will perish in the land. And it came to pass that Ammon went and inquired of the Lord, and the Lord said unto him, Get this people out of this land, that they perish not. For Satan has great hold on the hearts of the Amalekites, who do stir up the Lamanites to anger against their brethren to slay them. Therefore get thee out of this land, and blessed are this people in this generation, for I will preserve them. And now it came to pass that Ammon went and told the king all the words which the Lord had said unto him. And they gathered together all their people, yea, all the people of the Lord, and did gather together all their flocks and herds, and departed out of the land, and came into the wilderness which divided the land of Nephi from the land of Zarahemla, and came over near the borders of the land. And it came to pass that Ammon said unto them, Behold, I and my brethren will go forth into the land of Zarahemla, and ye shall remain here until we return, and we will try the hearts of our brethren, whether they will that ye shall come into their land. It came to pass that as Ammon was going forth into the land, that he and his brethren met Alma over in the place of which has been spoken, and behold, this was a joyful meeting. Now the joy of Ammon was so great even that he was full, yea, he was swallowed up in the joy of his God, even to the exhausting of his strength, and he fell again to the earth. Now was not this exceeding joy? Behold, this is joy which none receiveth, save it be the truly penitent and humble seeker of happiness. Now the joy of Alma in meeting his brethren was truly great, and also the joy of Aaron, of Omner, and Himni. But behold, their joy was not that to exceed their strength. And now it came to pass that Alma conducted his brethren back to the land of Zarahemla, even to his own house. And they went and told the chief judge all the things that had happened unto them in the land of Nephi among their brethren the Lamanites. And it came to pass that the chief judge sent a proclamation throughout all the land, desiring the voice of the people concerning the admitting their brethren who were the people of Anti-Nephi-Lehi. And it came to pass that the voice of the people came, saying, Behold, we will give up the land of Jershon, which is on the east by the sea, which joins the land Bountiful, which is on the south of the land Bountiful. And this land Jershon is the land which we will give unto our brethren for an inheritance. And behold, we will set our armies between the land Jershon and the land Nephi, that we may protect our brethren in the land Jershon. And this we do for our brethren on account of their fear to take up arms against their brethren, lest they should commit sin. And this their great fear came because of their sore repentance which they had, on account of their many murders and their awful wickedness. And now, behold, this will we do unto our brethren, that they may inherit the land Jershon. And we will guard them from their enemies with our armies, on condition that they will give us a portion of their substance to assist us, that we may maintain our armies. Now it came to pass that when Ammon had heard this, he returned to the people of Anti-Nephi-Lehi, and also Alma with him, into the wilderness where they had pitched their tents, and made known unto them all these things. And Alma also related unto them his conversion with Ammon and Aaron and his brethren. And it came to pass that it did cause great joy among them. And they went down into the land of Jershon, and took possession of the land of Jershon. And they were called by the Nephites the people of Ammon. Therefore they were distinguished by that name ever after. And they were among the people of Nephi, and also numbered among the people who were of the church of God. And they were also distinguished for their zeal towards God, and also towards men, for they were perfectly honest and upright in all things. and they were firm in the faith of Christ, even unto the end. And they did look upon shedding the blood of their brethren with the greatest abhorrence, and they never could be prevailed upon to take up arms against their brethren. And they never did look upon death with any degree of terror, for their hope and views of Christ and the resurrection. Therefore death was swallowed up to them by the victory of Christ over it. Therefore they would suffer death in the most aggravating and distressing manner which could be inflicted by their brethren, before they would take the sword or scimitar to smite them. And thus they were a zealous and beloved people, a highly favored people of the Lord.
Okay, so we see how just the little desire of Ammon and Aaron and their brethren to preach the word after they were converted has resulted in so many great things because of their faith. And it's a tremendous illustration of the true gospel of Christ and love of God. And now we see these developments. Did you have anything you wanted to say about it? We want to welcome Andrew, who's joined us here this morning. Good morning, Andrew.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, good. We're glad you made it.
Yeah, sorry I'm late here. That's a good scripture. I can't. It's really frustrating to me that, I mean, I can't imagine that I would be able to endure such type of pain that they're going through here in chapter 27. I mean, that's just incredible that they before they take up the sword, they go through that type of pain. I don't know if I have that type of faith, you know. I think that I'm going to be pulling out my 45.
Yeah. Well, it was because they had pulled out their 45 so many times in the past, you know, that they were stung by their past, and so they were afraid before God.
Yeah.
So that changed things a lot. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I just think that that's something that us as humans, it's amazing how I like those stories where they change and they become better people. But us as humans, usually it seems like we tend to repeat. It's like these enemies of Zion. Well, the only reason we have all these enemies of Zion is because we repeat history as it, you know, just as we read in the Book of Mormon, we see that the comparisons with our day, obviously, that's why it was written, and we see us repeating the same mistakes over and over, allowing the tyrants to take over, and I'm not too sure if we haven't made this mistake again now in our generation.
Yeah, and it's a reaction to it. You have reaction where people won't believe it, so they won't listen to what others are saying, you know, that are trying to warn them of the danger and things. And then you have the reaction of people who get angry, actually. I saw a really good video. I think it was on Facebook, and I looked and I can't find it. But it was this woman. She's just a common, you know, everyday American woman, using salty language a little bit, but she was expressing how she's not, you know, this has just gone far enough, you know, and it's that typical, easy to recognize American reaction to things, and but it's not in righteousness, you know, it's not. You can understand the reaction of what's happening. I sent you a whole list of videos, many more than we can play, but in some of those, one of them, it was a rap song of the police state. Did you see that one? Oh man, I hope we haven't lost connections here, but we continue to have these technical plagues. But hopefully, Andrew, you look frozen on there, so maybe something's happened. But anyway, I sent him.
You got me there? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I missed what you said. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I was just saying I sent you a whole list of videos, and we can't play them all. But one of them was
Which one do you?
found the one I was looking for with that woman, but the other one I found this morning was this rap on the police state. Did you see that one?
I didn't see that one yet. The rap on the police state.
Yeah, it was.
Which
I
which
can't-
one was it?
I can't remember what it's called. I think it's. Oh, it's on.
The Rob Hustle?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you want me to play that one?
Well, we could play a little bit of it, but I think it's. It really shows, why this woman, I wish I could get her, is really mad because she's seeing all this happening. And
Yeah, it was. Yeah, let me see here. Call the Cops, Rob Hustle featuring
that's it.
Liv.
Yeah, call the cops.
Okay, here, let's. I don't know if it is. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, do you want me to play it?
Yeah, play it.
Okay.
We'll play just a little bit of it. I'll give you the high sign when we want to cut it off because it's probably too long. But it sure shows what ticked off this woman because she's seeing these things and many other things we're going to talk about.
Right. Yeah, okay, I'm going to switch over my screen here. Come on, computer. Did it switch?
What happens when you call the cops?
Can you see it?
This is what happens when you call the cops. Say what? This is what happens when you call the cops. Come on. This is
You
what
can
happens when you
maximize
call
your
the
full
cops.
screen. It'll look good
Violated
too.
or you all get shot. This is what happens when you call the cops. This is what happens when you call the cops. This is what happens when you call the cops. You get your rights violated or you all get shot. I'm sick of people being victimized by criminal cops. Psychopathic predators terrorizing neighborhood blocks. Equipped with pepper spray, mace, cuffs, tasers, and glocks. They like serial killers acting out subliminal thoughts. Forget what you taught. These cops have got a license to kill. Witness intimidation means that they can use it at will. Code of silence means that the pigs will never let out a squeal. And if they go to court, they know the judge will make them a deal. For real. That's why they stopping me, locking me up and stopping me, confiscating my property, talking in my topography, making the poor commodities, profiting off of poverty, enforcing policy, supporting prison economies. Yeah, no one makes money when the violence stops. Hate and brutality is the way to make a criminal crop. Blood in the gutters, how the rich butter they bread at the top. And that's why this is what happens when you call the cops. Come on. This is what happens when you call the cops. This is what happens when you call the cops. This is what happens when you call the cops. You get your rights violated or you all get shot. This is what happens when you call the cops. This is what happens when you call the cops. This is what happens when you call the cops. You get your rights violated or you all get shot.
What's your emergency?
I'm in the system and these pigs are trying to murder me. They mace me, they tase me, they trained them to hate me, degrade and detain me and change just like slavery. Hands up, face down, left hook right quick. Throw you down, hold you down, smack you with that nightstick. Night shift, riding around, see you with your J's on. You'll get sprayed on over Skittles, word to Dre Vaughn. All the people saying is it's crazy down in Florida. What you saying is you playing, it's the same in California. They ganging like they banging and they'll hang you down in Georgia. Frame you in a case for what you say without a lawyer.
Okay, I think that's enough, Andrew. I saw many of those clips that they have in there when they happened. I saw the YouTube on them. I remember getting so angry, and then of course we remember the FBI. When the global elite did the false flag on the Boston Marathon, and that ridiculous thing that ensued after that, and they killed those two young guys and even one of their friends.
Yeah.
And they got away with it.
They sure did. They got away with doing a drill. I mean, they were basically doing a drill, and then they killed two guys because they wanted to try out their martial law on the people. And yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. It's tough to take. It's tough to handle them doing it right in front of our faces, and everybody else acting like la-di-da, You know,
Yeah.
what's the next thing I can buy?
I have a friend, a Hispanic friend, very close friend, and when I would tell him about these things, he would laugh because he says, "Well, they've been treating the Hispanics that way all along, and you didn't care, but now they're doing it to the white folks, so you're all up in arms, you know." But he says that's the way they've been treating Hispanics, and he started telling me what happened since he was a kid in Ogden. He grew up in Ogden, and what the police did to them there. But you know,
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I can't act like I have been oppressed because of the color of my skin, I guess, but I mean that is what they do to us too. They tried to get us to divide racially, and then you had because I talked to a couple of black friends, and they say the same thing. They say, "What are you talking about, man? You know that's been happening to my people for the longest time." So it's like they got no sympathy, and that's fine. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm just saying, hey, you know, if it did happen to you, I do understand, I guess, a little bit. But yeah, people are like, oh no, forget that. It's just maybe happened to you guys now for 5 minutes, but it's been happening to us forever.
yeah, it's you can understand how they feel that it's coming out, but nevertheless, I think they need to understand that, you know, the tyranny that's being imposed upon us, even though it was imposed upon them first, it's still no excuse for them to say, well, it doesn't matter. You know, you're just getting what you're, because a lot of these cops that are involved are black or they're Hispanic cops. They're just as mean as the white cops. And the things that they're doing are just atrocious. Well, we're going to play on our awful situation. We have a video of recent developments entitled "The End of Freedom in America," and this kind of sets the stage for what's happened and tells us what 9/11 actually meant to us. Now, I sent that one to you also if you want to play that one. Unfortunately, I forgot to label them, so I just sent you the URLs. But there were two that I sent together, and it's one of those those last two, and then I sent a single one after that. So those are the three we want to play. I have to remember to put the titles on them.
So the ones with the two, I'll look for those and I'll try to pull them up because I've got a lot pulled up here, but it's making my computer slow. So
yeah, okay.
let
and
me.
while you're doing that, I wanted to talk about the end of freedom in America as it relates to our theme for today, the land of Zion. Something's got to give, because as we see, it's really funny. In fact, I could probably show that here while you're looking that up. I want to show people that aren't familiar with our program maybe that we have this situation update that comes from our website, which if you go there and click on situation update, it's one of our menu items, you will find this awful situation update, and it refers to this scripture where the Lord commands us to awaken to a sense of our awful situation. And that's in Ether chapter 8. I'll just keep talking until you bring the video up, and just go ahead and share it. When I see that it's shared, I'll click over to you.
Okay, sounds good. This is the End of Freedom of America is the one you want me to play?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, sorry. It's just tough because it's making my computer slow. So I think I got it in about 2 minutes.
Okay. So anyway, what we have here is this awful situation update, and we put together, doesn't look as pretty as it normally should because it just has text, but normally it has supposed to have a thumbnail and our problem is that it doesn't always pull down a thumbnail since they updated the software that we paid for, that Roy paid for, in order for us to display it. You see it's here sometimes, but sometimes it's just the text. But at any rate, the idea is you can go there and get an update on some of these. We will post some of these that I have sent to Andrew this morning, so that you can kind of get an idea of where we are in terms of our awful situation. But it's important to understand and to keep up with that. But those are just brief ones. Here underneath that we have a link to our in-depth background briefing videos, that if you click on that, it will take you to a similar slideshow, and it has many videos in it, but these are not current events. These are actual background videos that are really full feature type of videos that will enable you to catch up on what is happening. This one here, called Red Cry, is a good one. The Obama deception. The problem is, again, technically, these things change. I don't know why. I fix them, and then I go back and visit it, and the doggone thing has changed on me so that it doesn't display very well. I hope, however, that it plays okay. I'll check again today to make sure that's the case. But some of these are very, very informative, but they're an hour and a half long. So, but let's go now to this video that Andrew has pulled up here, entitled "The End of America as We Know It," or something to that effect.
Yeah, it's the End of Freedom in America, the Patriot Act, NDAA, Trespass Bill.
Oh, good. All right, let's play that one.
Secret that would give the U.S. military and the ability to arrest anyone and hold that person indefinitely. So there are going to be a lot of eyes in the sky staring down on American citizens all over the country.
There's a so-called trespassing bill, which now awaits President Obama's signature, that effectively serves as the nail in the coffin of the First Amendment.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Now, if you make that full screen, it'll work better, Andrew.
I don't know. We'll see. Is that working?
It might go off, and you might have to reshare it. But just go and make it full screen, and then.
Is that working?
Would it be possible that America?
No, it's gone off. But unshare it, full screen it, and then reshare it. You have to full screen it before you share it.
I can't do that. I mean, at least I don't know how to do that.
Oh, okay.
It won't. I can't look at both screens. I don't know. Maybe I can. I'll try it. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Because what we got coming up is that was Rand Paul. Yeah, it won't let me do it.
Then could be declared an enemy.
Well, we'll just live with that then.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And detained indefinitely. I think that as long as that individual, no matter who they are, if they pose a threat to the security of the United States of America, should not be allowed to continue that threat. To continue that threat, I'm infuriated by Senator McCain's nonsensical and unconstitutional answer.
I'm sure our next guest is too. Senator Rand Paul was questioning Senator McCain on our top story tonight. A bill written in secret by Senator McCain and Senator Carl Levin that would give the U.S. military and not civilian law enforcement agencies the ability to arrest anyone and hold that person indefinitely, even if that person is an American arrested on American soil. What's your take on what's going on here? I mean, everybody in the Senate took an oath to uphold the Constitution, which says no person, doesn't even say no American, it says no person shall be denied life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And here they go ahead and vote for legislation that denies it.
Well, you know, we had a discussion about this among some Republicans at lunch, and one other Republican senator read from the Constitution and pointed out all the places where you are guaranteed a trial by a jury, while you're guaranteed a speedy trial, while you're guaranteed habeas corpus, you're guaranteed all these rights. And it does strike me as perplexing that anyone could vote to send an American citizen who's been accused of a crime to a detention center in a foreign land without due process. Really is beyond me.
Now, as the saying goes, America is the land of the free, the beacon of democracy, where freedom is legally enshrined as constitutionally protected civil liberties for all citizens. Except it hasn't really been looking that way as of late. So let's review. There's a so-called trespassing bill, which now awaits President Obama's signature, that effectively serves as the nail in the coffin on the First Amendment. H.R. 347 criminalizes protest by making it a federal crime to disrupt, even by accident, any event attended by someone with Secret Service protection. There's, of course, the infamous National Defense Authorization Act, which would have faded into obscurity as another random funding bill, if not for a little provision that effectively destroyed due process in the United States. Thanks to the NDAA, the U.S. president now has the power to effectively kidnap any American anywhere in the United States and hold him or her in prison forever without trial. Let's turn to Reha Walla, the Advocacy Council for Human Rights First. Thank you so much for joining us on this program. H.R. 347, I don't know how familiar you are with this bill, but it's the so-called trespassing law that essentially criminalizes accidental disruptions of an event where a Secret Service person is at. Not as dire as indefinite detention or targeted assassination, but since it does raise this whole protest movement in the United States, I wonder if you see or perhaps fear a convergence of this war on terror sort of mixing with free speech and protest actions in America, since protests are heating up and don't seem to be stopping anytime soon, at least as far as Occupy Wall Street goes.
Right. Well, I'll be honest with you, I'm not that familiar with that particular bill, although I'm aware of it. But I do think that there's a overall, concern about counterterrorism, authorities expanding and reaching into traditional areas of civil liberties that we had not expected in the past. There are news stories of the New York Police Department surveilling Muslim communities, for example, as well. But I do think that the National Defense Authorization Act is really the kind of epitome of, where we are 10 years after 9/11, after Osama bin Laden has been killed, with Al-Qaeda on the ropes, as we're preparing to withdraw from Afghanistan. I think there's a real question about why we are in the business of further legislating against our civil liberties.
Unmanned drones that can tase or shoot a person from the sky and can even launch a grenade. These are the latest toys the Houston, Texas SWAT team, the police department, purchased using its Homeland Security grant given to it by the federal government.
Well, get ready to look up at the sky and see drones hovering above. As of now, unmanned aircraft could only be used by military airspace and by certain law enforcement agencies. But this week, Congress passed a bill that would allow for commercial and private use of the drones. So what would this do? So what this would do is let any person or company that gets a permit to fly drones wherever and however they please.
Is this the next phase of the police state, where cops can play video games with our civil liberties and with our lives? Here with the frightening analysis is Lou Rockwell, Mises Institute founder and chair. Lou, it's a pleasure. Welcome back to Freedom Watch.
Judge, great to be with you.
Say it ain't so. Say that the police department of Houston does not have unmanned drones from the sky that can tase someone or kill them, as the military has been doing overseas.
No, it's true, and of course the federal government is, as you mentioned, supplying these things. They're all federal agents, various federal agencies have them.
And certainly a good portion of those being privately operated. And what are the consequences of that step for civil liberties? This is state-of-the-art surveillance technology, so there are going to be a lot of eyes in the sky staring down on American citizens all over the country.
Undoubtedly the state police will have them, the local police. Maybe we can look forward to dogfights among all the Predator drones, but of course they also are developing X-rays that can see through the walls of your house. They can spy on you in your backyard while you're sunbathing. And as you say, they can taser you, shoot a baton into your head, or even kill you with a grenade. And we're supposed to feel safe about this. We're supposed to think this is to fight terrorism, when of course it actually is terrorism. Most of what we're told about terrorism is, I think, phony baloney.
So if this becomes law, can people expect that wherever they go, they're going to be tracked? Is that going to become a reality of life?
Well, I think it's a dream come true for law enforcement authorities in some areas. A major revenue maker for enforcement of traffic laws, for instance. So we're going to see these UVAs all over the United States, and the instant you're out cruising on a highway over 57 miles an hour, expect that one of these drones is going to snap your license plate, is going to measure your speed, and you're just going to get a bill in the mail.
So that last one there, are you ready to face a future? You know, a future where the government is tyranny has taken over your lives. It's really an amazing thing. But we talk about here in the land of Zion, and we play the scriptures where the Lord talks about establishing Zion in this land. And of course the freedom and joy that comes there, where the watchmen of Israel are able to see eye to eye and lift up the voice together to sing for her. And how beautiful upon the mountains are the tidings, good tidings of good. Are how beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of them that publisheth good tidings, that say unto God, that say unto Zion, thy God reigneth. You know, that's really a contrast here. Since the attack of 9/11, 2001, America's second Pearl Harbor, which turns out that's what they said they needed, the hedge that protects the freedom of Americans, the U.S. Constitution, has been attacked and steadily broken down by its own government. This film we just watched had to do, or was made before Obamacare was actually enacted in law. It's gotten a lot worse since then. And now the guy that's the chief architect of it, he was in the news the other day saying people should not plan on living past the age of 75. My wife laughed at me. She says, you only have 4 years to go, Doug.
Yeah, I saw that. They said, oh, the world would be a better place if everyone just decided that at 75 you just cut the cord. So you got 4 years, man. Hey, Screw that, dude. If you like 4 years, it's like, shoot. They got drones up above our head about to shoot a heart attack, gun, right through your window, and so
a bright Bart bullet.
yeah, a bright Bart bullet. That's right. Yep, you get some rare rare heart disease. They say, oh, he's had a heart problem. Man, I mean, I can't imagine that George Orwell could have even envisioned this.
No, he couldn't have seen, okay, a drone is surveying a crowd, and it face recognizes all the people in the huge crowd, and it goes very quickly in its computer. It runs through the database to see who's over 75 or older, and takes them out if they are over the age of 75 with a Breitbart bullet. I mean,
yeah, yeah. They have the gumption to actually say those things, that life, that our world's better if people just decide to die at 75. Well, yeah, we know that when they suggest that people should do something, that eventually they just say, oh, well, the people won't do it, so now we have to do it because we are psychopaths that meet with Satan in a smoky room. And it sounds funny, but that's what they do, literally.
Well, or it's even worse than that. What they do, the news covers the dead from the Breitbart bullet, saying people, the scriptures is pointing this out, that men's hearts would fail them for fear. So all these older people are fearing so much, they're dropping like flies, and because they're scared of the terrorists here. And so then they get the young people thinking that, wow, old people shouldn't complain, because they're going to die anyway. They should be glad that they're dropping dead. Their hearts are giving out like that because they've had their turn on earth, and they need to give us more room. We need the jobs. They're out here taking our money from the government in retirement, our Social Security and stuff. We don't make enough money as it is. We shouldn't have to be paying for their retirement.
Yeah, people say that. Kids, I know young people that say that. It's true.
I know, it's ridiculous. Go ahead, Roy.
Oh, okay. Thanks. It reminds me of that movie when we were younger. And it says, after you're 30, get rid of everybody. And they had a movie on it where they got rid of all the old people over 30 years old.
Over 30, yeah.
You remember that?
I don't. What was the name of it? Do you remember?
I don't remember. There was a movie, and all the young people got together, and they said anybody over 30 must have been back in the 70s, because everybody over they got rid of. So
I didn't see a lot of those shows. There was Soylent Green. I never saw that either, but I learned about it. There's a lot of them I want to go back and watch that I never watched it.
Did you guys?
When they were on playing, everybody was talking about them.
Yeah.
Soylent Green. Did you guys ever see They Live?
Did they live? No, they realized, because these people did this when they were 19, 20 years old, and when they turned 30, they'd have to get rid of them. So those that turned 30 that were started the thing ended up not wanting to do it, because then it didn't take long to be 30. So they anyway, it went on from there. But I was thinking about it doesn't matter to me what they do. They won't kill me because they just take my pills away, and they know I'll die.
Yeah. So, don't be hard for you. They'll just say, all right, that's it for you. No more pills.
Yeah. That'd probably be the first one.
They're already doing that. I remember some, when this thing came up with the veterans, that they were putting them on do not see list. We have this do not fly list. Now they had a do not visit the doctor list for the older veterans.
Yeah, it's getting further and further between appointments. You know, I mean, even my appointments were a lot of appointments, but anymore they kind of dwindle away.
Well, anyway, it's really hard to wake the people up. The question is, though, how can America be the land of Zion, as we're teaching, and the Book of Mormon teaches, and the church teaches, but it's a place where the watchmen are supposed to see eye to eye and lift up the voice together to sing for joy in the midst of this awful situation. There's a conflict here, right? Something's got to give. And obviously, unless God does something to change things, to bring again Zion, it's not going to happen. Of course, he has done something. He has sent down righteousness from above. He has sent forth truth out of the earth. He has established his church, knowing the calamity that would befall the world, especially the American people. But though this has been declared to the world since 1830, there are very few people who understand it. Even among those who do understand it, even fewer understand how the Lord's going to cleanse the land of those who fight against Zion and refuse to serve the God of the land, who is Jesus Christ. So we had a little bit of a taste of that doctrine in light of the Christian doctrine yesterday from the bus stop in Salt Lake City, but we got more to go. We're not going to do that today, but we are going to try to get an idea of what the church is doing, and it's surprising they are doing something. Can we play that next video in the two that I sent you there, Andrew? That it's the freedom of religion video, and it's here the church itself. This I found on MormonNews.org or .com, whatever it was. I guess it's .org. But here they are explaining. Imagine having to explain to people why it's important that we enjoy our freedom of religion, and they're taking that away from us with the First Amendment demolition here, and it's going to get worse. We'll talk about it. Okay, if you full screen that right there before you share it. Well, you already shared it. All right. Anyway, we're going to play that here, and it's really eye-opening in terms of what the church is putting out. But let's take a look at it, and we'll talk about it later. We're not seeing or hearing anything, Andrew. Your mic is muted. That's probably why we're not hearing anything. Okay. Here we go.
Groups decide for themselves what they're...
Okay, we gotta start over because she says a good thing here in the beginning.
Okay.
So you don't have an opinion about freedom of religion?
No opinion? Of course I have an opinion. Religious freedom means to me that you can worship a yellow dog if that's what you so desire.
You have that right, as long as you're not trying...
We're not seeing the video.
Religious groups decide for themselves what their followers should be doing.
Freedom of religion is not freedom from religion.
However, I think people should do it within the confines of their own homes.
People want voices silenced that are not in agreement with theirs, but they don't want their own voice silenced.
Everyone should have their own opinion. That's why I love debate so much.
Religion is a hard thing. It's a really hard thing. You have to respect everybody, culture, religion, opinion.
I think everybody's a little bit afraid right now that somehow we're not going to be able to practice our religion without being persecuted.
If there is a more foundational issue relative to this country, I don't know what it is.
There is a battle over the meaning of that freedom. The contest is of eternal importance, And it is your generation that must understand the issues and make the efforts to prevail.
Religious freedom is the right to practice your faith, to have a faith, and to manifest it publicly and in private, and without having someone stopping you and say you can't do that.
It's also the right to act and to interact with people of different faiths, both in private and in public, in a way that's consistent with your religious convictions.
People can make it sound very persuasive that, well, as long as you can believe what you want, then the rest of it doesn't really matter. But if you can't manifest your beliefs, then they lose a great deal of their meaning.
And as the U.S. State Department recently said, religious freedom is essential to human dignity, and it correlates strongly with economic development and with stable democratic societies.
We're not a democracy.
I always want to holler out that too.
Threats to religious autonomy, which is eroding our right to religious freedom. Certainly in the context of colleges and universities, we're seeing more and more policies that are being set that would require religious student organizations to have leaders that are non-believers. And these policies are forcing these religious student groups off campus. There are also threats to religious individuals in their professions in not being coerced into acting in a way that's contrary to their religious beliefs. So, for example, Christian pharmacists who object to dispensing abortion-inducing drugs, and state regulations that would force them to dispense these drugs, even when the state could very easily permit them to refer these customers elsewhere. Yet, they are forcing them to do so against their religious convictions. Another example is photographers or innkeepers who would be forced by regulations to provide commercial services to those whose behavior is censured by their religious teachings. For example, a Christian wedding photographer was fined because she refused to photograph a ceremony that violated her religious teachings on the family. Freedom of conscience is the right to not be forced to do something that violates the truth that God has spoken to your heart. And so it's that freedom of conscience that undergirds this freedom of...
That freedom of conscience, that is something that if anyone is listening to this closely, that is the key right there to me. Freedom of conscience, and that's what the Book of Mormon says too.
Yeah, see, right in the scripture that we had this morning in Alma chapter 27, the reason those people were destroying the Lamanites were destroying the Lamanites. They weren't destroying the Nephites, they were destroying the Lamanites. And why? Because they believed in God.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it was amazing. I keep saying how it correlates with what we're doing. I don't even realize it sometimes. But that was a religious battle. They were hardened by the Amalekites to go and destroy their brethren because of what they believed, not because they had done anything to them, but because of their belief. And that's what we have to recognize.
That's like Jerusalem.
Faith and religious freedom, these are very very delicate issues. They are controversial. They are...
Yo, Roy, what were you going to say?
Oh, I said Israel the same way. You know, the only difference with Israel, even a lot of the Christians and stuff didn't like Israel. And in essence, we all believed in Christ. The only difference was Israel didn't believe that Christ was the Son of God.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But the thing is as we get closer to that time where they will know the truth, then, there'll be more people wanting to, like here.
Yeah.
And well, look at it was interesting. I seen a thing on Robert E. Lee.
Uh-huh.
The general for the southern part.
Yeah, Robert E. Lee.
he prayed every day, even though he was in disagreement. They fought over, slavery, and even that he prayed. He prayed. So they're all praying, so their side wins, in essence. I don't kind of know how to take that, because at the same time, he never got his he lost his citizenship, and he never got it back till Ford. President Ford gave him his citizenship back, anonymously, after.
Lee.
Posthumously, yeah.
Huh. Gerald Ford?
Yeah. Robert E. Lee never got his citizenship back.
And he went to West Point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he went to West Point. Him and they were all of those guys from the North and the South were in West Point together. But he was such a smart man.
Yeah.
He was such a good tactical. Anyway, there's a lot of stories.
That is a good point. That's a really good point, I think, when you're talking especially about Robert E. Lee and this so-called Civil War. Man.
Yeah, they were fighting for states' rights is what they were fighting for.
Yep. You're exactly right. I mean, the South was, it's like, oh, it's slavery. No, it's states' rights is what they were fighting for, and that was what the Constitution allowed them to do, and Lincoln changed that. And I am not a fan of Lincoln by any means until the end of the war.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point, Roy. All right, I'm keep going here.
And sometimes, the strongest feelings of a person might be connected to their faith. And so you can easily offend someone, and you can cause problems, even if you have good intentions. So I think in order to avoid these problems and contention and instead create peace and love like you really want to do, and respect, I think it's important to educate ourselves and to learn how to be respectful.
I think practicing what we preach is the second priority. So not criticizing other religions, not making fun of other religions, teaching your children to respect other religions, learning about your friends' religious beliefs. I think that's all part of
like the Muslims do.
The foundation for religious freedoms. And then doing something.
We could go to the internet. We could go to the library. We could get engaged and involved in a local interfaith organization, or maybe an NGO that works with religious freedom.
I think as people volunteer in their community, there's a wide range of ways we can volunteer, and then you're positioned that when that religious freedom issue comes up, you are already integrated into that organization, you're credible, and you can help them make wise decisions so that religious freedom is protected.
And that is one of the exciting things about working with religious freedom, is you feel the brotherhood and you feel the common cause from all the different people, and you feel that we are all children of God.
You don't have to have any special kind of training to get involved and protect these rights and be aware of these rights. All it takes is an interest and a willingness to speak up and be involved.
In the 21st century, we cannot flee any longer. We're going to have to fight for laws and circumstances and environments that allow the free exercise of religion and our franchise in it.
My challenge today.
So to me, and I heard a talk by Jeffrey R. Holland, and this goes to the gay marriage issue. Now, the Constitution does not talk about the government being involved in marriage. And the gay marriage issue is a freedom of religion issue. And if we have people who are fighting for the government to violently stop people from getting married to whomever they choose, to whom, like the girl said before, she said, freedom of conscience is to be able to practice what God has told you is true, not what God has told you as one group is what's true for another group. That is unrighteous, and it is using force against people who are acting peacefully. And so I think this entire thing also goes to this gay marriage issue, which we have a lot of Mormons that fight and they say, oh, no gay marriage. How about no government involved in marriage? And if people want to start their gay church, they can. Don't have the government stop people from practicing things that they believe are correct in their hearts, as long as they are not hurting other people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's the idea of our Constitution, right? And that the government should not make any law abridging the free exercise of our conscience, the free exercise of religion. It's the government that we have to shackle, not the people.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. Yeah, we got to shackle the government, no doubt, because we teach people and say, hey, gay marriage is wrong. And we believe that God told us that we should marry a man and a woman. But we do not sick the government on them. We shackle the government and say, hey, if you guys want to practice that, that's fine. Just don't force me to practice it, and I won't force you to practice what we believe. And as long as we don't hurt each other, then we can have a civil discourse. And I think that they may be missing that point here, a lot of Mormons, but I know Jeffrey R. Holland said in a CES single adult fireside one time, he said that the government cannot legislate morality. And this was in 2012, and this was during a time where all these topics were heavily debated, and he said that very clearly. And so he understood what we're talking about.
Is that you join with people of all faiths who feel accountable to God in defending religious freedom so it can be a beacon for morality. We caution you to be civil and responsible as you defend religious liberty and moral values. We ask that you do this on the internet and in your personal interactions in the neighborhoods and communities where you live. Be an active participant, not a silent observer.
I'm involved in nonprofit work, and I'm currently a student working to get my degree.
We do community outreach with various nonprofit associations.
I'm chamber board member for Leavenworth, Washington.
The Interfaith Council in Whatcom County, Washington.
Children's Community Choir.
The Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
We're helping to organise a charity concert at the moment.
I'm involved with Christian Club in my high school.
I'm part of the food pantry in our community.
I'm president of the Latino Student Association of my school.
Easiest thing in the world, just set up your Facebook page.
On Twitter, I get on and I share the things that I deeply care about.
We don't know when or where the issue is going to come up. There's no way to anticipate that. But the Lord knows, and He's going to help us be in the position to make a difference. And I believe that with all my heart.
If it has been demonstrated that I have been willing before heaven to die for a Mormon, I am bold to declare before heaven that I am just as ready to die in defending the rights of a Presbyterian, a Baptist, or a good man of any other denomination, for the same principle which would trample upon the rights of the Latter-day Saints would trample upon the rights of the Roman Catholics or of any other denomination who would be unpopular and too weak to defend themselves. Joseph Smith, 1843.
That is like polygamy.
Yeah.
Mormons want to stop gay marriage, but what happened to us? Polygamy. They stopped polygamy. Same thing.
Exactly right. Now let's really quickly, as soon as you can, start that other one up. I sent it to you singly by itself, and I'll have to go here pretty soon. But that one was an important one because it explained what is happening in a very straightforward way with drawings and pictures and stuff. So I wanted to play it. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Oh, it looks like we lost him. Oh boy. Okay, well I'll have to try to play it here myself as fast as possible. It's called What is Religious Freedom? And it explains that, you know, like as if we had to have this explained to us. Some of us, though, forget how important it is that we understand these basic principles. A lot of times we take it for granted that others understand, especially among our children, but that's not always the case. Oh, wait a minute, that's not it.
That he will instead let the Pentagon take the lead.
Okay, I was in the wrong folder here.
Religious freedom.
All right, let me share it. I don't know what happened to Andrew. He dropped off the screen here. It's amazing how the technical problems never quit. But here is the video part I'm sharing, and then here is the audio to go along with that, and I'll start them together, hopefully halfway synchronized, so that we can keep up.
Freedom is a basic human right that gives our lives dignity and meaning and enables all of us to think, act upon, and express what we deeply believe. It's recognized in constitutions and declarations the world over. Religious freedom is our birthright as human beings. It's the architecture that allows diverse faiths and beliefs, yours and mine, to coexist. In other words, it's the right to live our moral convictions freely, in public, and with room to flourish. Members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints appreciate the significance of religious freedom. Early Mormon pioneers moved across America's plains, enduring many hardships to find a place to worship freely. Joseph Smith, the founding president of the church, regarded religious freedom with such conviction that he made the belief an integral part of Mormonism's tradition and scripture. One of the church's articles of faith reads, "We claim the privilege of worshiping Almighty God according to the dictates of our own conscience, and allow all men the same privilege. Let them worship how, where, or what they may." And Mormons aren't the only ones. In early American history, the Pilgrims recognized this God-given right and sailed across the ocean, leaving their homeland behind to attain it. Throughout history, people around the world have done the same. This holds true today. Religious freedom allows us to worship how we choose and gives all people the right to think what they want, say freely and publicly what they think, and to openly live their lives and their beliefs while allowing others to do the same. Religious freedom richly benefits society too. Listen to this. Research shows that when protection for religious freedom is up, tensions are strong. So when religious liberty and conscience is protected, societies are more likely to enjoy greater benefits of health and prosperity, harmony, and stability. And what's more, its citizens are more civically minded, more generous, and more neighborly. Okay, we've established that freedom of religion is a fundamental human right. But that doesn't mean it will always be honored. Did you know that its foundation is being subtly and steadily chipped away? That social and legal shifts are squeezing this liberty in a number of ways. For instance, people have been dismissed from educational programs. Religious groups have been nudged from the public square. The ability of religious organizations to manage their employment and property has been challenged, all because they follow their consciences. So what can be done to preserve this fundamental freedom? First, people must work together to maintain its structural integrity, whether religious or not. They should also be fortifying each other's freedoms by weighing in on the discussion with their own views in reasonable and meaningful dialogue. Church leader Elder Quentin L. Cook adds this.
It is important to become well educated on this issue, to take responsibility to pass on to future generations the religious freedom you now enjoy. Defend religious freedom on the internet and in your personal interactions in the neighborhoods and communities where you live.
Likewise, as we engage in public discourse, we should remember the repeated encouragement by church leaders to act with civility, tolerance, and respect. If you want your religious beliefs to be protected, you need to defend the beliefs of your neighbor, even if they don't mesh with your own. Religious freedom's umbrella of protection covers everyone. especially those most vulnerable in society. All deserve their place in the public square. No one should be mocked, mistreated, or silenced for following their moral conscience. That goes for religious institutions as well. Remember, a society is only just and free as long as religious freedom is sustained, nurtured, and protected through the vigilant efforts of communities, groups, and individuals like you. If you'd like to learn more, go to MormonNewsroom.org.
Okay, that's very good. The idea is made very clear there, I think, in that few minutes, and but it doesn't apply. It wouldn't have applied to the Lamanites that became to be known as the people of Ammon. While they were trying to defend, there was nothing they could do because of their past, and they would have been destroyed. And that's a point that we need to recognize, that there are enemies who don't abide by the laws. This is a cute little idea of a just society, but when that just society becomes corrupt and the Gadiantans take over, how much do you think this applies, Andrew? I just... it somehow just seems so politically naive.
I agree. Well, you got public schools. People, they're not, people go to public schools, and so public schools, the definition of that is communist school, and that's and the problem is that they're going to limit your religious freedom just by the fact that your kids go to public school. And so it's naive for sure because it's contradictory. So there's all these contradictions, like we said with gay marriage. This gay marriage contradiction. Oh, fight for religious freedom, but wait, no, don't fight for that because that's not a religion. Yeah, religion is a bigger, broader thing than just a belief in God. Religious actually just means something that you do over and over, right?
Yeah, and it's very important to recognize this idea of, like, for instance, giving the Muslims, we protect them for their religion, but their religion is that their religion is the only religion that should exist, and that should be enforced by jihad, and jihad can be something as much as ranges from immigration into the countries so that you can then have the voting power in a democracy or in a republic like ours to be able to do one thing, undo the work of others, see? So their religion is that they should be anti-religious. So how, when that comes down into the picture, how do you draw that into this guy's this artist's rendition of these things? That religion is is like poison. That religion, out of that religion comes all these bugs that attack the other religions.
That's why. Freedom of conscience, like it says in the Book of Mormon, freedom of conscience should be where, okay, you can believe what you want to believe, and I'm going to believe what I want to believe, as long as you do not hurt me or violate my right to property and also to life. And the right to property and to life would mean that you do not steal my property, meaning you don't ransack my house, ransack my church, and you also do not steal my life, meaning you do not hurt me and take away my life. If you do those two things, whether you're a government, whether you're religion, you're a group of people, if you do those two things, then you cease to be under the umbrella of my Constitution, and then now you're an enemy of me because you have decided you're going to take my life, you're going to take my property, and now I can no longer pursue happiness, and now I am going to do something, fight back, I'm going to do something. But I think that's what I would say to this guy. It says I agree with you as long as it's talking about people acting peacefully, and as soon as people stop acting peacefully, if a bunch of gay people are saying that we're going to riot and things like that, and being gay means that you like men, but you also riot and ransack villages, well, then I would not agree with protecting them anymore. But
and
so
here
yeah,
you have the Muslims whose religion absolutely forbids homosexuality, but they enforce it by the sword. And you either convert to Allah or you die, or you pay a tax that is unpayable, really, because it's so high. So we have to re-examine these things into a broader idea, not just the concept of freedom within our republic, but defending our republic, because they don't ascribe to the laws and concepts of the republic. That's what is not being recognized. And you're doing a really good job, young man. I appreciate your point of view that you're bringing to the program here. I've got to go. I meant to stop at 10 o'clock, but we're 20 minutes over that. But tomorrow, we're going to, our theme is going to be the enemies of Zion. So we want to look at the enemies of Zion, and the enemies of Zion, bar none, there are a lot of enemies of Zion, but the worst ones, according to President David O. McKay, was the Reds, right? Red communists, Red China, Red communism, and of course now he didn't realize, but we've got the consummate Reds that are called Red. The Edomites.
But and you're talking about the Muslims and the Islams, and I agree, but I would agree more with Ezra Taft Benson, who said the enemy that will take down the Constitution will come from within. And you're saying the same thing, because we know that the U.S. has been funding the Islamists and their jihad, which is crazy, right? But
it's not only their jihad, but it's the residue of the heathen that are attempting to take over the world. We know them as the global elite, and they are using the United States to do that, and it's become so clear. And this lying hypocrite that says, that is playing this deception so that we don't understand that we think he's actually going after ISIS, which he calls ISIL, which includes Israel, see? And he's going after them? I don't think so. They've funded them from the beginning. They've set them up to do their bidding, and they did it in other countries, from Tunisia to Libya to Egypt and now the big one is Syria. They've got to get Syria, and so we stopped them, and now they're telling the people, oh yeah, these guys are beheading Americans, and we got to go. We agree now. We didn't have any strategy to wage, but we've put our heads together and come up with a strategy now. We're going to go after these guys. We're going after the Islamic State. And so we need all these troops. So what they're going to do is get all these troops under that guise of fighting ISIS and the Islamic State, so really they can turn their guns on Syria. It's so ridiculous and transparent. It's unreal. But anyway, I've got to go, so we'll talk about that tomorrow. The enemies of Zion. And whatever you can come up with, Andrew or Roy, feel free, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hope everybody has a good day, and my prayer, as always, is that the Lord's choicest blessings will be with us all in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.